Well, we're back for a new season at Manchester United, and I can't even pretend to put on a poker face. For the first time since we joined this club, I am happy during a transfer window. We've got faces that we've managed before who were excellent. Yes, we've got a lot of centre midfielders, but some sensible business, the return of the diamond, the nostalgic formation of this channel. I mean, it's all happening. I'm looking forward to a season, and today we could win a trophy too. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 127 of this FM23 Head Coach story with me, Daniel. We are back today to begin season 17 of this save, and we are in charge of Manchester United in a Manchester derby in the Community Shield. A chance to start the season with a trophy, a chance to lay down a marker for the year, and a chance to continue the progression of this club, which is going in the right direction. We've got a lot of summer transfer work to reflect on before we play any football. And for the first time, as I'm sure you can tell from my mood, I'm pretty happy with John Murtough. There's a few little decisions in there that have been a bit weird. There's been a few tactical dictations because of transfers in and out. If you're looking forward to seeing what we've got and what we've done on the tactical side as well, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Of course, it all could come crashing down as we head into the Community Shield. But for now, I've got a lot of excitement ahead of the season. We've also got a repeat of the FA Cup final on the opening day of the Premier League season later. That's going to be a cracking game against Liverpool. And then we've got a relatively friendly start, so I'm hoping we can get off to a flyer this year. The main focus today, though, is going to be on transfers. You can probably see from the overall financial balance on the right that things aren't going too badly at all. And to be fair, on paper, I shouldn't probably be that happy today because our net spend this summer so far is only £8 million. We've still got a gaping hole in the squad in one position because centre midfielders keep getting signed. We've lost our backup goalkeeper, but for a ludicrous sum of money. And we've got to change formation because of what's been done. But overall, I'm a pretty happy man. And the first signing was probably the one that got me because there was a stage in June, and we'll reflect on it in a minute, where I thought this summer was going to be another disaster because an offer went in for a player who thankfully chose not to come to us. And if he had, that might have changed this summer entirely because it would have blown what at the time was virtually all of our budget on someone we didn't really want or need. But it's worked out well in the end. Let's go and have a look at the transfer centre. But there's a few players potentially going out on loan. You can see a bid for Ariel Garcia was rejected. Ricardo Ribeiro now is one of, I think, 3 youngsters where loans are being discussed out. Yep, it is right. And there's nothing pending on the ins at the minute. But let's go to the transfer history. It's all happened this month. We'll get to the ins in a minute because those of you that have been following this save throughout, you'll probably recognise the top name that John's brought in on a free. And you'll probably see why I'm excited as a result of it. The one underneath him ain't bad either, by the way. But let's start with the outs because there's some interesting ones here. Lots of players out that I'd quite like to have seen out the club, which is good. Utilisation of selling young players again, which maybe isn't a great long-term strategy. We saw it a couple of years ago where one was sold to Southampton. But in the short term here, it's allowing us to compete, so I can't really complain. There were a couple agreed on frees and a youngster for 1.7 million. Let's get to the first big one a few days later though, because this week sort of at the start of July decided what formation we were going to play. Joel Finnegan got offered stupid money to go to AC Milan, and while we didn't want to lose him, we've got a second choice goalkeeper who came in January who will pass, and we've also signed one since as well. And for £30 million guaranteed, you cannot turn down an offer for a backup keeper. It is a shame in the sense that he's homegrown at the club, so it will affect our quotas for Europe and the league, but overall, for an average goalkeeper who was our number 2, you can't turn down 30 million. I fully understand that. The day after, though, the first teamer to leave on loan was Adam Hunter to Sheffield United. Now, we did get one back from loan, so it wasn't a disaster, but I guess the fact that they're paying 47 grand a week and he wouldn't feature that much for us, maybe it does make sense again. But he's going to get football at the age of 20. Hopefully he's going to improve there. Maybe he can have a good season, winning every week, and then hopefully come back and be a star for us. But That loan deal, the one for Kiet Herriman's a bit later in the day, and Adrian Smith joining on a free, those three things combined probably decided that we were going to play a diamond rather than a 4-2-3-1 this year. So let's just get through the rest of the outs quickly. We've got Kiet Herriman's, who we knew again, him and Whitlow, two good youngsters, both out on loan. German Tellez had been out on loan a few times. He's 24 now, a very average left back, an average right wing back. Didn't really fit into our tactic because we more needed an emergency right back than left. If he'd been able to play right full back, we probably would have been happier to keep him. But to be fair, it's good money for a player who's never going to be near our squad. 10 million quid John got for him, then 14 million for Oscar Benegas, who, a decent youngster. He's gone to Sheffield United again, but given the fact we've now got Contreras, given the fact he gave Kieran Jones a new deal, it made sense for him to go. And Benegas, whilst he is a good footballer, he's not at the level of the rest of them. So I understand that one too. A few more loan deals, including Roberto Garmendia, who I was interested in keeping in the first team squad this year, but he should come back even better yet again. And then two more big ones a bit further down. One on loan with a view to a permanent. He did have some permanent offers accepted for him as well, but Campo Cabadis has gone to Feyenoord on loan. We just had an overload of midfielders because of a couple of signings made. He was recommended for the transfer list on the backroom team meeting, as was the next one who went as well. He didn't take the deal. He went on loan to Feyenoord. There is an option to buy there. They're covering all his wages, but in the short term, doesn't give us the money we would have liked. But Cabadis is gone. He will play first team football in the Netherlands. He's a good player, but he's not as good as the other 7 or 8 we've got. And then Juan Carlos Solis, the man who, well, got more assists for our opposition than he did for us last year. He has gone to Atalanta for 25 odd million. I will give him a little bit of credit as a Luton fan because he chose to go there over Watford, so you've got to give him some plaudits, I guess. Can't hold everything against him. But another player who's gone, and so far, I know it was only, less than 2 weeks ago, he's the only one that hasn't been replaced, which with Vanderson retiring in the summer as well, is maybe a bit of a concern for us because we're a little short at right back now. If we move to the ins though, and I know it's nearly all centre midfielders, so far we have got to be incredibly happy, and the first 2 signings are the key components of that. Adrian Smith on a free is a great deal. Those of you that followed our England stint and watched us win the Euros, they've gone on to win the World Cup this summer by the way, but those of you who watched us lift that tournament will know that Adrian Smith played a key role in that squad. He struggled to stay fit during qualifying, but after that he was brilliant. He stuck with Forest last year, they wouldn't let him go, and he left them on a free agent deal as they got promoted at the end of last season. He has 4-star ability, he's 28 years of age. He's a world-class international midfielder, playing regularly for England, off the bench mainly, but he's still in their squad. He's on 130 grand a week on a 3-year deal, and he's just a super player. Look at the vision, look at the decision making, look at the passing and technique. He is about the perfect playmaker. Yes, he fits into John Murtaugh's thing of having short players who can't jump, but he's better than Cabadis on that front. One better jumping reach and slightly taller. He can play number 10 or he can play centre mid. Fits into 3 midfield roles in either of our tactics. I mean, what a player. We've just got someone worth 80 million for free. I don't think we can complain about that. He's also homegrown in the nation, which meets that quota. He can pop up with a goal as well. I mean, he's got everything. I am so thrilled with that. And to get him for nothing as well is an absolute bit of genius from the director of football. He almost pulled off the double move because Cabadis rejected Nottingham Forest. That was one of his permanent options. If we'd got 30 or 40 million for Cabadis to go to Forest and then Adrian Smith had come here for free in exchange, it might have been the greatest bit of director of football work we'd have ever seen. It didn't quite work out in the end, but that is pretty spectacular. As is the next one, because one of the things we've been talking about before is not bringing in younger players who are going to become brilliant and just spending that budget on average squad players. And this summer, he's generally focused on younger players or people who improve the first 11. So we've seen what Adrian Smith can do in the now, but what can Juan Heavier do in the now and the future? Because the Mallorca man comes in for 63 million. This was after we decided to change shape as well. He is a 3-star ability holding midfielder and centre mid. He is a 21-year-old Spanish under-21 international. He's on 70 grand a week on a 5-year deal. He's got 5-star potential. and he is exceptional. Over 160 senior league appearances at his age is incredible. He's very good technically. He's exceptional mentally for a young player, and he's pretty good physically as well, especially when it comes to natural fitness. He's 5'9", so not the shortest in the world, and he's just got bundles of ability. I mean, this is a player who I like our director of football to sign. It's the sort of player I'd sign if I was in charge of transfers, which is always a good sign in a head coach save. He's clearly at elite level already, despite only being 21. I mean, I can't have any complaints about those two. They both improve our midfield and will both get a lot of game time this year. The other three are not first team additions, but two of them are youngsters for the future, and one is a bit of an essential. So Vendel Guimaraes from Celtic, basically a replacement for Finnegan at a quarter of the price. He's an okay keeper, he's solid across the board, and he likes to play a through ball as a goalkeeper, to be fair. Got great vision and a decent passing range, and he's got loads of senior experience. So if we have to throw him in for the odd game, not a problem at all. But a lower wage and a quarter of the price of Finnegan, I understand why that move's happened. If we go on to the final two, we've got a youngster for the academy first. Would have been involved a bit more if we'd been staying with our original tactic, but Tobias Gulstroff has come in from Copenhagen. He is a youngster who's not played much, was out on loan from them last year. But he's got great determination, he's got good physical attributes, and his key technical ones are there as well. I've got a feeling he might be a bit of a gem in the future, and if a loan offer comes in, I would imagine it's going to get accepted because he's only a youngster, but I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can develop because he's got all the core attributes to be a very good player at his role. The last one to come in is a bit of a wild card, but again I can kind of understand why. It is Sol Julien from Sheffield United. They went down to the Championship, which explains why he came in on the cheap. His relegation release clause was 17 odd million. 2.5-star ability, 3-star potential, a squad player who's happy to be a backup. He's an England under-21 international of recent times. He's only 23 now. And he's just got a bit of ability, hasn't he? He's nothing spectacular when it comes to the technical side, albeit his technique is okay. I guess he is the director of football's replacement for Cabadis, but at 6'1", look at his physical stats, he's a bit more imposing. He's got great mental stats in key areas, the concentration, the work rate and the bravery. I feel like he's a good addition to the squad. Of course, he is banned for the first league game of the year, which isn't a big issue, but he's got lots of football under his belt. He's an okay player, and if he develops, the director of football will make a big profit. And don't forget, that is his main objective with the board. It's all good him doing what we want, which he has with Smith and Heavier, but his main aim is to sign players to sell for a profit, and Sol Julien is a squad member who I think will definitely do that. So the only position I think we need a player now is a right back to replace Solis and the retiring Vanderson, and then I think we're ready to go. If we have a look at the squad at the moment, it's not just the players he's brought in, he's got some new contracts sorted as well. We've got a bit of a problem with Joel North at the minute. He wants massive money, which I guess is understandable given his goal record, but if we have a look at the players in now, Humphreys has signed a new deal for 5 years. There are a couple of others as well, Kieran Jones being the key one, a 4-year deal. And he's kept the wages largely under control. No one is signing a big new deal. Adrian Smith he convinced to be an impact sub. I've no idea why. 130 grand again, very reasonable for him. And one Heavier, a star of the future, is on 70 grand a week. I mean, this is bringing down the wage bill and improving the quality no end. I cannot complain at all. One right back that can do a job if Humphreys gets injured, and we're ready for the season. But for now, let's go and get into our game against City. It's the Community Shield, not the biggest trophy, of course, but an opportunity to get that winning feeling into this club again. You got Christian Spassoff up against us, the star man. 3 of that back 4 we managed for England, who have gone on to win the World Cup this summer, and David Godwin, the superstar up front. But the main reason I'm going to come here is to show you what we're doing tactically. I've not really been left with much choice because yes, we've got Base out and Demeter still, who could play out wide. Yes, we've still got Joel North, who could come on and play there. And yes, we've got Matthew Vella, who has returned from a successful loan spell at Pompey in a championship. But we've not really got depth out wide, and we've got about 10 brilliant centre midfielders. So why on earth would I play in a way that doesn't suit them? It doesn't make sense. As it stands today, I'm going to stick with my normal policy of bedding people in slowly, but we're trying to stay as aggressive as we were last year. So Adrian Smith will come in from the start. We've got the likes of Sol Julien, Vella's never played for the club before, and Heavier, the other new signing, should all feature at some point in this one. And then the big decisions really are, do you go Carlos or Lindozo? Do you bring in Heavier once he's up to speed? Because we've got to bear in mind the pre-season fitness too. But for this game, it made sense to stick largely as we were. These boys have got to get bedded into a new tactic. So the stronger we can go and the quicker we can get them settled, probably the better for this season. We've basically got this game and the Liverpool one next week. And then we need to be up to speed for all of the games against the bottom half teams where I really want to win convincingly. So today we're going for George Robles in goal. We've got Humphreys and Simmons the fullbacks with Hervenhov and Develay as centre half. Hodgkinson drops into that holding role with Carlos and Smith ahead of him. Smith will be an advanced playmaker on attack just to give us the same four that we had previously. And then Emir Baysal moves into number 10 behind Ocon and Demeter up front. It's a little bit difficult really because it's hard to fit them all in a team. The only realistic option we've got with all of the stars in is to drop Ocon into centre midfield alongside Smith, play Baysal up front and then Guido as number 10, who's probably unlucky to miss out today, especially given what happened in the FA Cup final. I'm trying to find the best way to settle them all in. I'm also mindful of the fact that Heavier's got to come in too, and we've got so many midfielders that I don't then want to play both Baysal, Ocon and another player who might be a midfield cover as well. So it does leave us a little bit unbalanced because I've got to think of what the backup team would be too. But I feel as an 11, balanced at the moment, this is probably the best and we'll see how it gets on. Let's go and get into the Community Shield final. If nothing else, it means we've got an incredibly strong bench when it comes to attacking options. So let's go and get into it. The first game of the season, the curtain raiser at Wembley. And can we play as we did last time in this stadium? It's 8 changes for Manchester City, who of course are going first choice for this game. Probably only Preta that's a surprise to be on the bench. Jurgen Klopp still in charge. They won the league title last year. Now what can we do against them today? Matches like this matter for our fans. Go out and give them everything. Lots of inspiration and motivation in the dressing room. But how will that translate on the pitch? Let's go and get into the big game at Wembley and see the outcome between City and United. Well, it didn't take long, did it? Just a couple of minutes gone and it's Manchester City on the front foot. And to be fair, when we've played them anywhere other than Old Trafford, we've often been played off the park. Our last meeting was 5-0, don't forget. Though Stansfield's made a mistake there for Ocon. Oh, it's a great save from Eliseu. It's a glorious chance as well for Henry Ocon. And it's my one reservation with him being up front. He's not the best finisher in the world. You've got Taylor, you've got North, you've even got the youngster Vella. All probably better in front of goal than him. I feel he gives us almost a sort of fifth midfielder in that deep line forward role as well. We've seen how effective the target man can be this year. Maybe Joel North will go into that role off the bench, but for now, it's Man City on the attack, and that is crushing. Just too good. Spassov and Godwin, whatever we say, are still better than any of our players at the club. They're sensational. So it's 1-0 to City. They've been just about the better side, but we have got a free kick here with Henry Ocon. In towards Hodgkinson. We've still got no real height in the team. And Godwin can bring it away. Baysal wins it, but still gives the ball back away. Stands still as well as Godwin cuts it back for Kelleher. Carries it down the left, our former Palace man. Gets towards the byline to Laverne. Smith nicks in to Baysal and Ocon. This is the difference though. Not that Ocon's made anything of it here. On the counter, we will have 2 attackers normally now. Godwin forces the save from Robles. It's cleared out for a throw. We've got to make more of it when we get the chance though. Well, into first half stoppage time, it has quietened down a bit. And in fairness, I think you can see, even from some of the passing moves and some of the highlights here, that we're maybe not quite as settled in this formation as you'd expect. There's a little bit of rustiness. It's a little bit disjointed, which you normally get for the first couple of months in a new tactical shape. It's going to show again here. And of course, we're playing against the best side in the country and arguably one of the best in the world, which doesn't help. Godwin is the best striker in the world, and he's proven it because we're giving him easy chances to score. Maybe I should have played a bit more reserved today, played a bit balanced and tried to counter them, but at half-time, we are by far the second best team here. But this is an exercise of getting people fitness. No trophy is coming into the club. And it's a corner kick for City early in the second half. It's an easy ball in. What's gone on there? He's given a penalty for a push. I saw nothing. I have no idea. Godwin's on a hat-trick. He puts it down the middle. And in a few minutes, we'll think about changes because City are embarrassing us again. And for all of the excitement this summer, I know that we've got a better side than we had. It's going to take a month or two to settle in. And Manchester City are still streets ahead. They've got 20 world-class players. Spasov has a throw on the left for them. He's picked up a knock, but he's still going strong. As Godwin nicks it off Hodgkinson. 4 for him, 4 for City. I mean, I've got to show you this guy because I just want you to have a bit of perspective as to where we are. David Godwin is literally a better version of Erling Haaland. He's quick, he's strong, he's technically and mentally unstoppable. He's a legendary player. He can play 2 positions. I mean, he's got the lot. But we just haven't got that competitive edge. And at the moment, Manchester City are still better than us. So it's going to come down to consistency rather than quality. I'm going to look at bringing on both young players and new players now. So first of them will be Contreras for Hervenhoff. We're also going to bring on one heavier for Hodgkinson in a holding role. I'm going to take off Antonio Carlos for Sol Julien. He is a left footer. I'm not sure what he's best at. We'll probably switch sides there. Adrian Smith hasn't had the best game. He'll be replaced by... I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put Ocon into midfield. We'll do it like that. And then we're going to bring off Adrian Smith for Taylor, who can be an advanced forward, can be a poacher. We'll probably go for something a bit different. And then I'm going to bring on Matthew Vella for Demeter up front, try and get him through the middle. And then finally, the last one, I think we get 6, don't we? Will be Guido on in the number 10 role because he deserves a run out. We played him at Wembley last time. He was the best player on the pitch, so I dropped him for this one. What you can't legislate for is George Robles having a stinker. You can't legislate for the fullback struggling and not having backups, which we've got Garcia injured and we've got Humphreys with no support. But it's going to take time with the new tactic, and I've got to convince myself that. We know that the diamond will work once we get it right. It will take a bit of time, but we'll get it there, and then we'll be brilliant. We know we've got more new signings to settle in than we normally have, and we know that Manchester City are the best team we're going to face this year. Yes, it's not an ideal start. Yes, I was excited going into this episode, but we're probably unrealistic to think we're competing already. So Manchester City will lift the Community Shield. Well done to them. It's a good start to the season for the citizens. It's a good example of where we've got to get to. John's still got 60 million to spend. He can get me a right back and maybe more. But for now, Manchester City still dominate Manchester. And we're going to have to get the work in a league. This new tactic is going to take a while, but the diamond is not going to be deterred. Let's go and have a look at when we're going to be back. Well, crucially, despite the humiliation at Wembley, we've come out without any injuries or problems for the opening day. So we're going to try and get through August, and then I think we're going to come back for the revenge mission because we want to get deadline day in to see if there's any more disasters or successes with John Murtow. And there's no point me showing you us rolling over Southampton at home. You know we're going to win the home games against the bottom half teams, so there's no point me doing that. We're going to come back for deadline day and Manchester City away. If you did enjoy meeting those new arrivals before the big humiliation at Wembley, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the new signings. Are they going to take us to the success I'm hoping? I think we're 2 years away from being a very good team. If you want to stay up to date and find out if I'm right, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back here in 2 days' time to find out what else John has done and whether he's got us a backup right back or not. We'll also be playing against City at the Etihad. Before that, we've got our end of season review tomorrow in our Build a Nation save. A very big summer to come in that one, and lots of coefficient watch to be done too. You can find our big season finale from that one up in the eye above, as well as our Twitch channel, football podcast, and the blog page as well. But thank you very much for watching. Your support as always is appreciated, and I'll see you back here next time for John Murtow's deadline day and some rival revenge.